Hi guys, it's Witch Jodi tonight here on Tea Time with Witch Jodi RN. I hope that people are out and about and watching. I made a boo-boo tonight. I was thinking we started at 7, but Kelly had something else going on, so I'm not starting until now. But I hope you've been having an okay week. It's been a little rough the last couple of weeks. We're in eclipse season, people, and I got to be honest, eclipse season can really kind of stir up stuff for people. Um, Please feel free to, message me on here because I'll be talking with you all night tonight. But let's talk a little bit about eclipses. So we just got done having the lunar eclipse. And we had, oh boy, that was on Tuesday, this last week, Tuesday. It was just crazy. I mean, how many of you guys have been feeling just like unsettled, maybe even feel sick? A lot of people have been telling me that they're not feeling well. They've been having gut issues, super stressed, super fatigue, just gut issues, the whole 9 yards. Sometimes that's our body reacting to different things happening for stress and the moon phases. Being a nurse, I can tell you it is honest to God true during new moons and on full moons people actually react a little bit different, psychologically speaking. So, yeah, it really can throw you up into a tailspin with everything going on right now. I know I was really off kilter last week. I was just, I didn't know what end was up. I got to be honest. I was like, what am I doing today? I was forgetting things. I couldn't cook anything because anytime I would start something, I'd walk away and forget it. Not the smartest thing to do. Um, and, it's just one of those things where you have to take a minute and rest and kind of reset. So during this eclipse season, that's what I'm going to encourage everybody to do because we are actually in the Virgo right now. So it's Pisces and Virgo, I believe. I'm not an astrologist, so I hope I have that right. And so during this big energy, what I will say is when we go into the big eclipse that's coming up this next week, and excuse my crazy wild hair. Holy cow, I've got like hair like flying everywhere. When we come into the big eclipse, it's a solar eclipse. Now, you're not going to be able to see it here, just so you are aware. But we're going to have this solar eclipse that's coming in on Monday, the 21st. With that being said, we've got a lot of different ick feelings, I guess is how I'm going to say it. With the solar eclipse coming up, with it being in Virgo, one of the things and that I wanted to tell you about was the fact that we have contracts. So when we come here, we've made contracts. So, think about the contracts you've made, like even for work, you guys, like a contract for work, a contract like a marriage, a contract, a life contract is what I'm getting at. And this is the time of year with this eclipse where it's going to be like, here we go. Let's do this. And you are going to have big changes happen, big shifts of energy happen. It is the norm. That's what's going to happen. With that being said, make sure that you're balanced. I want you guys out there grounding and kind of centering and rethinking things because with everything being in turmoil, you're going to feel unkiltered. So it's a big reset right now. This is a really good time. Like I was saying earlier, remember how I was saying it could be affecting your health, like your gut, you're fatigued, that kind of stuff. Stress manifests that way, and you're maybe not sleeping as well. Again, this is a big reset with this eclipse. So take the time you need, go for a walk out in the woods, ground and center, get those Tootsie Toes into the dirt. Be aware that, what your surroundings are. If you need to walk in the rain, walk in the rain. I mean, I'm hearing it's going to be like 90 degrees again tomorrow. So, go for a quick swim in your pool, in your lake, whatever you happen to have. Just make sure that you're taking care of yourself to ground and center. That's how you're going to get through this. But it is a big reset right now. I've got Lynn that popped in and she says, I saved in Palo Santo. I think she meant to say I saged in Palo Santo my house today because of the feeling the ick. Everybody's kind of feeling the ick. So just, do what you need to do to make sure that you're getting that rest you need and getting that balance that you need. But with the big reset like this, yeah, it's a big ordeal, you guys. I mean, we're kind of getting rid of the old contracts, and some people are just like dropping and going. So you might have a big shift in a career. You might have a big shift in, I don't know, getting a new car. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe there's something different going on. But declutter. So I want you to declutter your head. I'm talking about, think about what it is that you really want to do. Maybe this is almost like a Saturn return in a way. And I'm not saying that we are doing any kind of Saturn placements in this eclipse. I'm just making the comment that with a Saturn return, you have to rethink things for yourself. And so maybe that's what you need to do. Rethink what's really serving you, because I really want you to take those few minutes to serve yourself. Again, when you are resetting and resting, really focus in on what you want. Do you really want to be in that career that you're in? Do you really want to be driving that car? Do you really want to, I don't know, remodel the house or move? Think about what it is that you truly want and need, and take the time so that you can make the proper decisions, because you don't want to make a drastic move and not mean it and then regret it. So just so you think through, just make sure you're thinking through. And it can be messy. Not everybody wants to hear, going in and giving notice at a job. Nobody, your boss maybe doesn't want to hear that. Maybe you're at an end of a relationship and maybe you have to make that call to end something, that your partner may not want to hear that. It can be messy. So with the eclipse, you want to think about shadow work. You want to think about releasing things. You want to give gratitude to what you have. And some of the things that you can do to do that, if you have your own, place, and maybe it's, in town, in the country, whatever, go ahead and go outside and give an offering to Mother Earth. Maybe you're having a glass of wine or a glass of beer. Go ahead and give a little bit back. Because think about it. Wine comes from grapes, Mother Earth. Your beer comes from hops, Mother Earth. So give back a little bit. I wouldn't encourage you to throw chocolate out there, even though I would like chocolate, if I was Mother Earth. But animals, I'm thinking about little cutesy animals. We don't want to harm anybody. But you can give back, throwing out wildflower seeds, different seeds for, to regrow for next year. Anything that you can give back, watering, even watering, you guys, putting out simple water is a great thing to do too. So just think about what you want to do. So give gratitude back to the earth for what she's given you. So that's kind of all I wanted to talk about today on eclipse season. Again, for this big eclipse season, remember, simplify things, declutter your head, declutter, your house if you can, get rid of stuff you no longer need that no longer serves you, get rid of it, and reset, realign, find peace within. I hope that helps with the eclipse season. And then right after the solar eclipse on the 21st, we come into the 22nd. Now the 22nd in the witches world is called Mabon. Many people know it as the fall equinox, which is, of course, the very first day of fall. We're done with summer. Again, on the 21st with the eclipse, last day of summer, right? But you want to think about what you want to bring forward. The eclipse, the fall eclipse, is literally the halfway mark between summer solstice and winter solstice. So that is the longest and shortest day of the year. So with this day coming up next week on the 22nd for the fall equinox, you're going to have equal amounts of light and equal amounts of darkness. So you're going to start seeing every night now, it's going to get a little bit darker earlier. And us here in the Northern Hemisphere, we don't necessarily like that too much, because we know that means that the cold is coming in for the winter. And you have to start thinking about, I don't know, like, I'm naughty, I haven't closed my pool yet. So we got to think about closing up our pools. We have to think about, getting things ready for the earth to fall back asleep for the winter to take its rest. So you want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do, for not only your family and yourself, but on that kind of a level. With it being Mabon in a witch's world, different witches, depending on what way they follow, because there's different people. You've got people who follow Wicca. I do not follow Wicca. I'm a witch. I'm a Hermetic witch, a Celtic Hermetic witch, or an eclectic witch. Different things. So if you're a green witch, you're going to want to do stuff with herbs. If you're a crystal witch, you're going to be doing stuff with crystals. So this is our little celebration. It's called a Sabbat. And so during the time that you're doing your Sabbath and doing your ritual, what are you doing in your ritual? Are you bringing in acorns? Are you bringing in root veggies to put on your altar? Different flowers like sunflowers would be great. I know people don't necessarily care for goldenrod, but goldenrod, echinacea, there's all sorts of cool different flowers that you can adorn your beautiful altar with. So I'm curious if anybody is watching, if you have any specific, rules that you follow for yourself. I mean, do you have specific things that you do for your altar or that you do in your ritual? I generally will go and just take some of the different flowers in my gardens that are kind of right there toward the tail end, just to pick and place on my altar, just to show honor to my deities. And I always have a little bit of wine when I do my libation for my ritual. So I usually will do a red wine. And the reason why I'm doing a red wine, because think about it, it's September. Now is the time of the stomping of the grapes at all your vineyards, right? And if you've ever had a chance to do it, I know it's a lot of fun, so yay. If you've never had a chance to do it, find out from your local vineyards when they're doing the stomping, because they will ask people to come in and help, with it. And you can jump into the barrel and you can actually stomp the grapes because you're squeezing out all of those juices to help make the wines. So it's fun if you have never done it. I think that Abbott's Apple Farm here in Stillwater already did it. I want to say it happened like a week or two ago, but I know there's other different vineyards around the area and around the Twin Cities. So check into it. You may enjoy doing that. Another thing about Mabon, I'm a little sad this year for Mabon. This will be my first Mabon that I haven't gone back to the east, out to Salem to celebrate with my Cabots in 6 years. So it was kind of sad that I didn't go, but I was out there for Lugasa, which was at the beginning of August, and I'm sure I'll be getting out there probably in bulk in February. I'll be the next time I get a chance to get out there, just because of my lifestyle right now. But yeah, so it was a little sad that I don't get to celebrate with my brethren out there this coming weekend, but that's okay. I've got a lot of stuff going on here. I've got a lot of friends around here, so something will come up. If anybody has any questions, please jump on and tell me. Another thing just regarding, stuff coming up here this fall. So, a lot of witches like to make their besoms right now. And why, what's a besom? A besom is a witch's room. And people will ask, well, why this time of the year? Because this is the perfect time of year to grab the perfect, stick for your handle out in the woods. And you've got a lot of different like branches kind of starting to kind of, shed and fall off your trees where you can go out and you can gather. I generally don't go break anything off of a tree. I would never do that. I usually go for a walk out, I've got beautiful pathways out where I live, that's out in nature. And some of them are around different lakes and whatnot. And there's always fallen branches from storms and different stuff like that. So I always ask when I see a broken branch laying on the ground, I always ask the trees around if it's okay if I take it and use it. And trust me, your trees will let you know. You can talk to them. They are very good about letting you know. You'll get an uneasy feeling if you're taking something you shouldn't. And you'll feel good when you do pick up stuff. But then that's the time where we're taking these little sticks, these little branches, and we're binding it to a bigger stick to make a besom. And they're great for cleaning outside, sweeping up debris in your garden, like leaves and some dead flowers, that kind of stuff. So you don't have to go and buy a store-bought broom. You can actually do a besom that you've created. And when you're using a stick to do that, it actually picks it up a little bit better. It's almost like raking. And so it's kind of nice. And with that besom, and just so that you know, you can flip it upside down at your front door. That's showing people that you're really not interested in having a lot of company come in. And if you have upright where the bristles are on the ground, that's like, hey, come on in. Let's have you stop by. I'm going to take a sip. My throat gets dry because I'm talking so much. But those are some things with besoms. And if you're really interested in creating a besom, I am actually having a besom or a witch's broom making classes coming Saturday. I do think I have like 2 or 3 seats still left for this week, and then they're sold out because I only can do so many people. I do have another one scheduled for October, and I want to say it's October 18th, if I can remember correctly, or because I don't remember all the Saturdays is my biggest concern. But you get to come in, it's $130, and you get to create and craft your own full size witch's broom. It's absolutely stunning. The materials I get from a company out in Pennsylvania, and everything is done very organically and ethically, and so that's a big thing for me, as everybody knows. So I hope to see you if you have already booked it. And if you haven't, like I said, I have a few seats left, and it is so well worth it. Anybody who's done it loves it. And like I said, these classes do sell out. And the broom making class, the besom making class, like I said, it's this weekend, but the secondary one that's coming up, I'm cheating because I have to look. It's coming up on October 18th. It was on the 18th. I just wanted to verify that. I have a nice gal here. Her name is Jess, and she asked a question. She says, I'm a little lost in my path to witchiness. Can you share with me something that I can do for the eclipse? Okay, yes. We were talking about the eclipse a little bit earlier. With the eclipse reset, rest. I like to not do magic on eclipses. Now, when I say that, that is because people who are a little bit newer to witchcraft and don't understand the ins and outs of an eclipse, when you're doing spell work, because okay, being on a full moon, right? An eclipse on a full moon, people are thinking, "Ooh, I'm going to go do something big, make all my wishes come true." Not on an eclipse because it stirs it up. No, if you're a chaos witch, you like to throw things to the wild. Absolutely, working with the eclipse energy is fantastic. That's some fun stuff there. But you really need to know what you're doing with that because it can come back and bite you in the hiney. And I don't want somebody to have a backlash. Like, for an example, let's say you think, oh, full moon, I want to go ahead and I'm going to try and find a new job. And so I've been setting up my resumes and I do a little magic because I just had this interview that I really like this company and I want to get hired by this company. If you're doing something on an eclipse, depending on how you're wording it, if you're not doing it appropriately, you could turn around and it could kick you out of the running, so to speak. So you want to be really cautious with that. I generally don't do magic very often on an eclipse. And a lunar eclipse, once in a while I will, but on a solar eclipse, I do not. I have a tendency of just resting. I will do my ritual, and my ritual is generally just giving honor to the earth, giving honor to the sun, giving honor to the moon. And I don't do magic itself. I do not do any kind of spell work that day. Another thing too, during eclipse season, like I said, you feel kind of off. Your energies are just kind of all over the place. About a month ago, the Schumann resonance was all over the place. And if you're not sure what that is, it's the vibrations within the earth. And I tell you, I had put out, and I didn't know it, and I had put out a reel out on social media, and it said, "Are you feeling feral?" I'm feeling feral. I mean, I was just angry. I didn't know why I was angry. I had no idea why I was angry. I had no reason to be angry, but it's just the energies that are moving through. So when we're in eclipse season, you have these energies that are not here all the time, and it just kind of throws you into a little bit of chaos, so to speak. With this particular eclipse season being in Virgo right now, and again, I'm not an astrologist, Virgo, it's just that's a pretty big powerhouse, a zodiac sign. So depending on where your Virgo sign, when you're doing your chart, where your Virgo is sitting, what house it's sitting in, that is going to be the area that it's going to really flip. So if anybody came to Cackle and Cauldron this last Sunday, we had somebody who was an astrologist in there, and she was talking to us, and it was fantastic. And I had asked a couple of questions because I have something coming up this week and next week, and I was asking about it. And I'm like, well, I'm just curious about it. I wanted to do this thing. and I don't want to say what it is, but I wanted to do something. And I was so mad at myself because I chickened out and I didn't do what I wanted to do. And I'm just like pouting now because I'm like, oh, I should have just done it. Why didn't I do it? Now I got to deal with the repercussions of not doing the thing. At the end of the day, she came around and told me what was going on this week, this next week. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going to get the thing. I just wasn't expecting it to go the way it was planning. So tune in and check in with me in about a week and see if I did the thing. So I'm a little nervous with it, and I'm excited at the same time. So that's what I will tell you with that. Another thing, being new to the witchy path, you just got to remember, the biggest thing I like to tell people is protection. You need to learn how to ground and center first and then do protection. So grounding and centering, walking outside, getting your feet in the dirt, that's called earthing. But if you can stand on grass or on any kind of ground, I don't care if it's dirt, I don't care if it's even in the water. If you go to a beach and you're just in the water, that's fine too. Putting those feet in the ground, and I want you to envision that the base of your feet are like roots and they're growing deep down into the earth. By doing that, that helps kind of wash away some of that stress, some of that anxiety, and it just kind of levels you out a little bit energetically. When you are going to be working in magic, you want to be grounded and centered when you're doing your practice, because otherwise, when you're doing your spell work, it may not work as well for you if you're not grounded and centered. It's really important to be grounded and centered. The second thing you always want to do is protect yourself. So let's talk a touch about protection. This is a simple one, you guys. So a protection can be as simple as, I hope I'm not making too much noise here with my microphone. It's as simple as something as a talisman or like a pentacle. You can be wearing a pentacle. You could wear a Christian cross if you're Christian. You could be wearing a locket. Whatever it is that you feel protects you, that's your piece, your amulet. Why you want to be protected is you want to be in control of yourself. Everybody knows what an energy vampire is. I don't care if you go to work. I don't care if it's a family member. I don't care if it's, a friend. You think about the fact that you go and spend time with somebody and you just feel physically and emotionally drained. And you were great 15, 20 minutes ago. When you got there, you're like, woohoo, we're going to have a great day. It's going to go smooth. And as you hang out in this environment or with this individual, you slowly feel more tired and just kind of drained. And when you're done with either the conversation or the workday, whatever the situation is, you just feel like a Mack truck hit you. You're just like, I'm ready to go home and go to bed. That's called an energy vampire. Now, many people who do energy vampiring don't even realize that they're doing it. They're just so in the moment, loving to be around you or the company of whomever. They don't realize that they're draining energy from you. So you have to learn how to ward or protect yourself. And you can do it a couple simple ways. One way you can do for yourself is envision yourself in a crystal bubble. And inside this crystal bubble, nothing can touch you. So you can push out. And when you push out, you're keeping that energy where the crystal bubble is. It's like boom. And then it goes out. Boom. It's going to go back. And by doing that, that protects your energy so that you are safe. Your talisman, any kind of like an amulet that you would happen to wear, or a bracelet. I don't have my bracelet on right at the moment. I've got lots of them next to me, but I don't have one on right now. You put it in your hand, you charge it, you give it a task. You're going to tell your amulet or your bracelet or whatever you're wearing to protect you. You're going to give it a task, and you're saying, when I wear you, you protect me from energy vampires. You're going to protect me from any kind of negativity or any kind of drainage. So that's what you want to do. If you want to learn a little bit more about witchcraft and understand things, I do have a wonderful class coming up next weekend on the 27th, Saturday the 27th, and it is called Beginner Witchcraft. Now, my classes, you can go out to my website. It is www.midwestwitcheryhealing.com and go under classes and events. I have a whole bunch of classes listed already for the rest of this month and all through October. Everything is out there. So you can choose and look through the courses and see if anything speaks to you and join in on that. But when you're starting your magical practices, number one, everybody thinks, oh my gosh, I got to be the TikTok witch. I have to have all the things. You don't have to have all the things. Although I'd love for you to come buy all the things from me, you don't need to do that. You can be a witch on a shoestring budget. And I go through that in my courses and teach you how to do things very simply by using stuff right there in your own home that you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on. And I've got a couple people popping in saying, oh, I know a few of those energy vampires. We all know some people that are energy vampires. But, holy cow. Definitely, look into those classes, because I think that you're going to find it very, very helpful. I got another gal popping on here. Her name is Meg, and Meg is asking, if there's any books that I would recommend for someone exploring this journey and path. I am a nurse by background. Well, hello, me too, Meg. And I'm researching everything first, thinking about the class coming up, but I'm not sure. No problem, Meg. So there's a lot of different books out there. So it kind of depends on what interests you. With you being, so I love to tell this because anybody that comes in from medical practitioning, so we are medical people. We believe in the science. This is what I'm going to say. Witchcraft is magic because science hasn't proven it yet. When science proves it, it's going to be known as science. Different books. Oh my gosh, there's so many books out there. So if you're looking for a book, that's more like green witchery, or looking more for the fact of, getting more herbal into it, because Meg, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be all about the herbs. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, because it makes so much sense. It really does. Because I work a lot with herbal witchcraft. And so there's a couple different ones that are really good. Very old school. One is by Scott Cunningham, and it's called The Encyclopedia of Herbs. It's a wonderful book. Scott passed away quite a few years ago. He was a Gardnerian witch. He's kind of like one of the first Wiccan priests that was here in America. He actually was under Gerald Gardner. So if I can remember correctly, again, I'm not Wiccan. With that being said, but it's a really good one because it goes into the plant history. It talks about the genus of the plant. So it's the name, the genus of it. It talks about if it's a male or a female. It talks about all the planetary alignments with it, how you're going to use it, both magically and medicinally, which is fantastic. That's one of my favorite ones. There is also another really good one that I like to recommend, and different people have different views on it, but it's called The Ultimate Solitary Witches Book of Shadows. And it's written by Raven Silverwolf. And the reason I really like that one, it was one that I had probably purchased, oh my gosh, at least 25 years ago, maybe even longer. And I still will reference things out of it to this day. It's a fantastic book. It goes through everything from the beginning of time with what deities are, to herbalism, to it talks about ruins, it talks about astrology, it talks about everything. Lynn was making a mention too, which is a really good one, the Zodiac Witch Book. So we have got a series, it's by Llewellyn, and I carry them, and you can get this probably at any metaphysical store, but it is a Zodiac Witches book. So I'm an Aquarius. So the Aquarius Witch, if you're a Pisces, the Pisces Witch, if you're a Virgo, the Virgo Witch. And it's really good because it breaks down what with witchcraft for you in your zodiac sign, and it speaks to you a little bit clearer than some other books. Diane, I'm not sure, I don't know how to pop on here and do it, but I know that my friend Kelly in the back can do it. So it's called the Zodiac Witch Books, which it's so like Aries Witch, it'll be your zodiac sign and then witch behind it. So it'll say Aries Witch, Taurus Witch. The other one is going to be by Silver Ravenwolf, and that one is called The Ultimate Witches Book of Shadow, the Ultimate Solitary Witches Book of Shadows. I apologize. So those two right there. Scott Cunningham again is a great one. And you guys are watching me on my live. I will promise you, I will actually go downstairs when the show is done. I'll take a picture of the books and I'll actually put it on a post on my Facebook and on my Instagram so you guys can see that. And I think that will help you too. there's so many wonderful books out there, like I said. And again, the class that I'm going to be doing, I go into teaching an awful lot, like with grounding and centering. I teach you how to cast the circle so that you are protected. I am teaching you different things with movement of energy, about invoking and then banishing. And this is energetically. I talk about the Sabbats a little bit. I talk about, how a witch, when you're a witch, this is my go-to. The most important tool in any witch's toolbox is herself or himself. Because honest to goodness sakes, the big thing for this one is it's your intention. It's what you're trying to do. It's what you're trying to put out there. And people in witchcraft, a lot of them are scholars. They're medical practitioners, all sorts of stuff, from doctors to nurses to aides, you name it. You've got teachers, educators. I have so many people that are still in the closet because they have high profile position and they don't want to be out. And I understand that because it can affect their career. So a lot of people are very quiet about it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of famous people out in the world too, and that are witches. And, I think that that's fascinating, but they don't want to come out and say it. We're coming up on 8:36, so I don't want to take too much more time. I've got about not quite 10 more minutes before we go. Any other questions you guys have regarding witchcraft, please let me know, or about Maven this coming week or eclipse season. Let's talk just a couple little herbs. I just thought I'd pop in and talk about a couple herbs because it's that time of year. We're coming into the fall where we're all getting the sniffles and stuff like that. And everybody's like, oh, I'm allergic to goldenrod. I got to tell you, it's not goldenrod. It's ragweed. Goldenrod actually is an antimicrobial, and it helps with your lungs too. So it's an anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. So goldenrod actually is not an herb that people are generally allergic to, but they got the bad rap because ragweed looks so similar to goldenrod. Everybody just assumed it was the same thing. There's a lot of medicines out there that have been created by pharmaceutical companies with different essences from the goldenrod because it actually helps in the fall for allergy season. So you can make a tincture out of it, or you can make, I suppose you could make a salve out of it, but you can make a tincture out of it. You could dry it. You could chop up the herb really good, and you could go buy those little veggie capsules, and you could actually make it into a capsule. So goldenrod, I really adore. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful herb, and you can make it into a tea. There's nothing wrong with that either. Anytime, and being a nurse, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse practitioner, I am a RN. Anytime you would indulge in any type of herbal supplements, please make sure you're talking with your medical provider beforehand, because I do not know what medications you're on, what your allergies are, or anything like that. So you want to make sure it's safe and it's not going to actually counter effect some medications you could be possibly on right now. And then Miss Lynn just asked a question, what should we do on Monday for equinox or Maven? So the equinox, of course, is actually on, I believe it's on Tuesday, is the actual equinox on the 22nd. The 21st is, or am I off on my dates? I could be off. The 21st could be on Monday, and I'm just being silly and not realizing that. So I apologize. The 21st is actually on Sunday. The 22nd is on Monday. Thank you, Lynn. Monday is Maven. So for the equinox and on Maven, I would do something in honor of me personally. What I do is I actually give a little bit of an honor to Persephone and to her beautiful mother. It's Dimitri, not Dimitri. Oh, I'm going to say it wrong. Demeter. There we go. Because as a mother, I want you to think about this as a mom. If you don't know the story, it's very beautiful. So Persephone, beautiful goddess, and Hades, the god of the underworld, came up and kidnapped her, so to speak, and brought her to the underworld and made her his queen. She ate a pomegranate, and so that's why she ended up becoming the queen of the underworld, and so that's why she had to stay down there. So the reason behind that, and this is Zeus's daughter, by the way, so Persephone is Zeus's daughter. So with that being said, Demeter, her mom, who's just heartbroken. She's looking all over, can't find her daughter. So that is why with Greek mythology, you see that when the fall equinox takes place here, coming up this next week, the earth starts changing. Things start going docile. Things start going, asleep, and we start losing the leaves off the trees. Our flowers are dying because everything is kind of going dark. It's to represent the mother that's hurting, that's heartbroken because she has lost her daughter. I'm going to do my best here. Being a mom myself and losing my adoptive son just 2 months ago, it really hits home for me this year. And so, I understand that pain. So Demeter is really, really hurting during this fall coming into next spring. Now, in next spring, her contract with Hades, kind of subsides, so she gets to come back to the top side. And that's why in the spring equinox, we see all the flowers blooming and everything like that. And it's this beautiful, happy scene because mom and daughter are back together. Where in the fall, mom and daughter are separated. So it's hurting, and so she is mourning the loss of her child. And this is why you see the earth starting to kind of settle in and be quiet and go into, the falling leaves and just into the fall season. So doing an honor for them at your altar. So maybe a little bit of wine, a little bit of red wine. You could do acorns. You can do any kind of fruit, like a root veggie. So think squashes, think apples, don't think pears are quite in bloom yet around here, but you could do, that kind of stuff. You can also do grains. So think, any type of grain. So, so put a bread out there, make a sourdough bread, put that on your altar, put cherries on your altar, anything like that that would be blooming at this time of the year or ripened that you can pick off the vine, would be perfect. So root veggies are great. Your grains are going to be wonderful. Apples, again, pomegranates, all that kind of good stuff. It's in honor of your gods and goddesses of the fall. So that's what I would encourage you to do. All right, you guys. Any last minute questions before we have to think about wrapping up for the night? Because believe it or not, this little girl has got to go home and catch some Z's because I got to go do the nursing thing tomorrow. I got to go work at my nursing job tomorrow. But for any classes, you guys, please go and check out Midwest Witchery and Healing.com. And it's just, for my website, they'll say www.midwestwitcheryhealing.com. We are located downtown Stillwater, inside the Grand Garage, right off of Main Street, right behind the Tiki Bar, in fact. And our address here is 324 Main Street South, Stillwater. And if you need to give us a call to set anything up, please feel free to give us a jingle at 651-342-1833. With that being said, I do want to give you a cool heads up. If you haven't seen already, the Edge magazine has done great. I've got all my classes listed out there for their online calendar for the next 2 months. But we are having our very first official Witches Ball here in Stillwater that I am sponsoring. I'm doing it down the hall at the Tilted Tiki. I'm going to give a shout out to Chris, who is the owner of the bar. He was diagnosed with glioblastoma brain cancer this last spring, so the proceeds are going to help the bar. I'm not taking anything from it, so it's 100% going up there to those guys. But we will be having tarot down there. It's a costume ball. It is $25 in advance. If you end up coming to the door, it'll be a little bit more. It'll be $30, but we have live music. I've got belly dancing coming in to kick the night off at 7:00. There's going to be a grand prize for the best costume down there, but there'll be beverages down there. They've got a restaurant in there, so there is a little bit of food prep in there. I don't know what they're going to be serving that night, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, it's our very first official Witches Ball here in town, so you don't want to miss it because we can only sell so many tickets because it is a smaller space. I think that we only have like 200 tickets available. So make sure that you get in on that while you can. All right, you guys, with that being said, I hope I've answered all your questions. Please feel free to reach out at any time. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and I hope you have a blessed Mabon and a very safe solar eclipse, and stay safe during this eclipse season. All right, you guys. See you soon.
Explore your higher consciousness with the Edge Media platform. We're a multimedia platform dedicated to connecting curious teachers and seekers in a safe, welcoming space. Dive into spiritual growth with our print magazine, digital content, podcasts, and in-person experiences. Whether you're seeking wisdom or sharing it, we're here to inspire and uplift your journey, here, there, and everywhere. Connect with us today.